We live for a God that chose poverty. We live for a God that that chooses to come into this world, into a poor family. He chose to be poor, and he chose that way of life for a particular reason. Jesus had chosen to come to save the poor because we are special to him. He came for the poor because he had life to give unto us. In him, we find life. This is why he came for us. Hello and welcome. I am Shanette, and I hope that as you watch this video, you will be blessed. Naturally poor, but rich with the things of life. This was Jesus. He never wanted the things of this world, which corrupts. So he chose the things of the spirit, which are the intangible, right? These are the things that cannot corrupt and they last forever. So these are the things that he brought to heaven with him. These are the incorruptible things. He was naturally poor, yet he always had to give. So Jesus was never short of giving. In fact, he gave more in this life than anyone else who had ever lived had given, right? He had nowhere to sleep, but he is the source of rest. He's not was, but he is. He's presently the source of rest. He said, "Come unto me, all those who are heavy laden, and I will give thee rest." He said, the birds of the air had a nest to lay their heads to rest, and the foxes had holes, but the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head. He's showing us that he wasn't rich. He's showing us that he was in a state of poverty. He was on the road consistently, but he was not rich. He was winning souls, but he was not rich. He was rich in spirit, but naturally he was poor. This is the God we live for. He could have chosen to ride on the most beautiful horse, but he chose to ride on an ass. This is a choice. This is a decision that he had made because of who he was. And he was living up to the standards of who he was. So he chose a donkey. He chose an ass and her colt. When he sent his disciples for the ass, he said to them, "If anyone said unto you, why need these?" He said, "Let them know the Lord is in need of them, and they will let you go." And that is exactly what happened. He's a king, and his word holds power. His word holds authority. So whatever he says must happen. This is the God who we chose, the God of poverty, but yet in every way was rich. The God who the earth belongs to and its fullness, which is the world and all that dwell therein, chose to live a poor life while he was on earth. This is the God we live for. The God who the earth belongs to and its fullness. Everything in the earth belongs to him. This is the God who had at one point nowhere to lay his head. This is the God who was born in a manger. This is the very same God that chose the poor, that chose to die for the poor. This is the very same God we live for. The God who created the earth. This is the God we choose for. He chose the poor life because he is meek and lowly in spirit. So how then do we want to live a life for Christ and we expect to have the very best life? We expect to not go through anything. We expect that we need to be bowed down to. Is a servant greater than their master? This is what the Lord asks us. So how then do you expect to live a life better than that of your master? Your master had to endure affliction. Your Savior, who you live for, who you are a servant to in this life, had to go through affliction. He had to endure affliction. He was persecuted. This is the God we live for. But then we expect, when he already told us that these things will come upon us, we expect to live a better life than him. We expect not to be persecuted. We expect not to be afflicted. We expect not to be hated on. We expect to be loved by everyone. How can that be when we are living for the God who had went through the utmost of affliction? We're living for the Savior who had to endure consistent affliction and persecution and hurt and pain and hardship and hunger and having nowhere to lay his head. This is the God we live for. How then do we expect to live a better life than our master? How then, when he's our master and a servant is not greater than his master? Remember who you are and remember who you belong to. Remember that this world, this life is temporary. This is a temporary state that we're in. This is not where we belong. This is not our forever place. Remember that we have another place that we will go. We have another place where we belong, where our eternity lies, where we will be forever. This is not our home. And that is why God chose us. Because this is not our home. He's already prepared a home for us. He's already prepared a place for us. Because he had called us unto him. He's already made preparation for us. This is not our home. So whatever you go through in this life, just remember who your God is and what your God had to endure. And remember that you are not better than your God. You are not better than the God that saved you. Remember, and in every affliction, in every persecution, remember that you, must glorify your God. We ought to thank him in every circumstance. We ought to glorify him. Because the more we have to endure is the more we look like him, is the more we become like him, is the more we are shown and known to be children of God. Thank you for listening, and I pray this message had blessed you. I pray as you go forward in your walk with God, you will develop a desire to draw nearer to him each day and to be more like him. Less of this world and more of our Savior. Take care until next time. God bless you.